or will LinkedIn, Facebook, and God knows wherever else break? We'll see in a, a second or two whether this is actually working. So if you can see us, say hi in the chat. Um, I'm just looking now to see if I fired up on my feed. Let's have a look and see if we've appeared. Yeah, we've appeared, Drew. We are here.
Awesome. Let's do it. I love it. I see it too.
So, Drew, we crazily agreed to do this like a couple of weeks ago to talk about LinkedIn for small business and fitness professionals. And I'm going to tell you a funny story about my experience with fitness professionals on LinkedIn maybe a little bit later.
Yep.
Um, what's this? You're in the kind of fitness world, you're talking to a lot of small business owners in that kind of health, well-being, fitness, the guys with the six packs too. Um, what's the state of that industry right now? Is it still a kind of like new year, new me thing, or has the economy hurt it a little bit?
You know, it's interesting. I don't see the new year, new me influx of a whole bunch of new clients right
Mhm.
now. But what I do see, because I'm in a higher level fitness business coaching group, and a lot of the other clients in the group are studio owners, and they're getting pretty full. They do a lot of small group training, and a lot of it's
Mhm.
like reactivation of past clients, like them
Okay.
just you know staying in front of their network. Their people know where to find them, and people are seeing the value more today in health than I think they used to. One change I have noticed is like the cost. Like it's much more digestible for someone to pay $200 to $400 per month for a coach than like when personal training first came out and it was like $800 for a coach.
Mhm.
So I think the people that are winning are kind of trying to get to that lower price point and seeing people in more of a one to small group format.
And you got into you got into the kind of LinkedIn space and fitness coach. How did you get into that kind of world?
Yeah, so I have been doing corporate wellness work for about 7 or 8 years, and LinkedIn had been my platform to find companies, connect with HR people, and I wanted to help the fitness industry be able to do two things. One, build their credibility online because I had some bad experiences early on where I kind of felt like I looked like a fool online, having like a website that was broken and sending it out to clients and that type of stuff. So that was one purpose. And then the second was to also connect with businesses. So my mentor, and business coach Pat Rigsby suggested about a year ago, like, why don't you help trainers with their LinkedIn and help them set up a company page and market on the platform. And I loved LinkedIn, so I was all about it, and I just jumped on it. I've been running with it ever since.
So, can I tell you what I think is what is the number one strategy for like the fitness people on LinkedIn, right?
Dean, I would love to know it. That's why I'm here today.
And you can't get offended at this one, right? You can't get offended, right? I think what they do is they look for people who've got a double chin on their profile, and that's what they spend their life doing. And then what they do is they message you, and they're always optimistic, great to connect. So they look for basically the chubby profile picture, and then basically they message you, great to connect, and you got some great goals. You can tell I'm talking from experience here, right? Maverick seems to be doing awesome. And then they ask you about your goals for your business, and you get chatting. And I've had this done to me a few times, and so you end up with the whole conversation about, oh, this sounds great what you're going to do in your business, and then they go, what about your health goals? And it's like, oh my God, that was so obvious. I get that like every other day. Um, that seems to me like an overhang strategy from like Facebook. And I don't think it's necessarily the most grown up way of approaching like people, particularly like, where does that kind of idea come from, Drew?
Yeah, I think well, in my experience, because I still am a personal trainer, I still see clients every week. And part of that I think is we like to qualify people based on their appearance. Like, hey,
Mhm,
that person is very fit. They don't need my help. And they
mhm,
could be in deliberating back pain and we have no idea, right? We have no
mhm.
idea if they need our help or not. So I think it's just our subconscious bias kind of weeding people out for us. And unfortunately, it makes us look bad, right? Because the last thing we want to do is backdoor someone that we're trying to build an actual client relationship with.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that um, I think one of the things people miss about LinkedIn is one, we treat it like a directory, right? I put my directory together, and my directory looks awesome. And now, because my directory is awesome, I'm gonna go and hit up everybody else's directory listing. And I think, particularly with like health, it's so kind of flipping personal. It's like,
Mhm.
you have to be really careful because your approach might cost you more than it makes you. And I see this like just because you can message somebody, just because you can send them your pitch for your 12-week thing, um, doesn't mean you should, or at least not straight away.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The stuff that, especially like outbound stuff that I like to help fit pros do is much more so showing up as a resource to like a chiropractor,
Mhm,
or someone they could kind of bounce referrals off of because it is very personal, like you said. And I think for any of us, we're going to hire a trainer when we're ready for help. And we made that decision, not when they show up in our
mhm.
inbox.
Yeah, just because you want to sell doesn't mean people want to buy. And
Right.
and I think it's funny as well with like, or this is my perspective of it is, um, say for an example, if I wanted help from somebody, I would go to somebody in my network that I think can help me, and somebody I think I could connect with and get on with and engage with and trust. And it's not just the case for me. Like, it's not just the case, is it, that you just connect with people because they offer something? Oh, yes, I must buy it. It's not a logical decision. There's so many kind of emotions involved in buying a service, particularly if it's personal. If you're like the procurement director of a big company and you're buying some gadget for the company, it's far more rational. But
Hmm.
if you're buying something for yourself, it's like, I'm investing in you. I'm looking at you and going, do I believe in you? And my experience of a lot of people in the fitness world is they don't get that.
Yeah, no, I think I can relate. Just some conversations I've had come to mind right away, and I think too, like I think the thing that fitness professionals miss is so like I come from going not healthy to like trying to stay healthy.
Mhm,
So I feel like I can relate with people that have, weight issues and that type of thing. Whereas a big majority of the industry has like always been an athlete or they run triathlon, so they're in shape and they coach people now.
mhm,
And I think what we miss is like the people that are going to hire us have to trust to tell us all like their darkest secrets to get
mhm.
results. Because
Yeah,
if we don't really know what's going on, we're not
and
going to be able
and
to
let
help.
and let's face it, I'll just be pretty straight, right? If I was talking to somebody and I didn't trust them so well, the first thing I would say is, "Oh, damn, I travel so much. It's so difficult to maintain exercise and health." That's what I would say to somebody who I didn't know. The
Right.
truth is, I flipping love KFC. But I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that to somebody I don't trust, right?
Right.
And I think people like when you're selling a really, really personal service, it is that kind of, you are in a kind of privileged, like, doctor position, even though it may not be, perceived the same way from a customer's point of view. It's like, I'm trusting you with insecurities. There's usually other stuff than just your health going on. You know, poor health is a symptom of other stuff. So there is that um, kind of sensitivity that maybe if you've been in the gym for 20 years or 10 years, or some that I see right now who look about 15 years old and say, I help 50-year-old men stay in shape. And I'm like, you haven't even seen, even seen two fives in your life yet.
Yeah, so with that being said, in your experience, Dean, like how can Fit Pro show up differently where they just start to show, people that they actually are a real person and care and that they can start to build that trust.
So I think one of the biggest myths that people have, and this transcends just fitness, is that if they share too much information, people will do it themselves and they won't need me. But
Mhm.
actually being really helpful, we know, you and I know with LinkedIn, right? The principles of being good at LinkedIn are actually the principles of being you know, a good trainer or a good anything. It comes down to how do you build the habits that actually get you the result. Everybody is helping people create new habits. I am, you are, fitness people are. And we think that if we give people the information, they will do it and no longer need us. However, the opposite is true. The people who we can help are going to struggle to do it themselves. That's why they need us. And so being quite prolific in sharing helpful information can build that trust, because you can go like, okay, if you work late, right, and you finish up and you work late and you feel really hungry, here's what you can do. And I could go and take that and go, that's really useful. Drew gave me a great bit of advice there. You've gone up in my world.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think very few people think that way, to go, I'm going to play a little bit of a smarter game and differentiate myself by the fact that people trust me, rather than I've got the best ab photos, the best before and afters, and all that usual stuff.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think of it as like because I'm thinking of, LinkedIn feeds of trainers. It's all about here's my tools, here's my meal prep plan. It's not here person that doesn't work out yet, here's something to do to get you on the right track.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so I
baby,
certainly see that.
baby steps. And
Hmm.
I think that's true in the content. You know, what baby steps can you give people that they bite onto and see that that's useful, and go, I'm going to pay more attention to you now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you certainly do a great job of it. Like I see your carousel posts of like you think it's simple, but you'll break down step by step by step what to do, and yeah, it gets attention and it's actionable.
Yeah, I always talk about, and I think this is a useful thing to ponder.
Hmm.
There's kind of three groups of people. Um, Hello, Jason Jones. Jason Jones, I need to pick your brains tomorrow. I need to pick your brains, Jason Jones. Um, I think one of the things that um, I th- I don't think we consider is there's three types of people generally. I love to put people in boxes, but these are three nice boxes. There's DIYers, yeah. So the DIYers are the people who want to do it themselves, and pretty much you can't really change their mind. And if you do, they will be a living nightmare as a client.
Mm,
Yeah, because ultimately what they want is if even if they do hire you, they want you to do it their way, right?
yeah.
So you got DIYs. So they will typically consume information, consume content, they'll engage with your content, but they're never going to buy, pretty much. You've then got the middle group, which are like triers. So they're the people who would prefer to do it themselves, and a lot of them will do it themselves, but a good chunk of them will fail to do it themselves. So they need to buy into your model so that when they get stuck, they come back and ask for your help with your approach. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of trier model. So you got DIYers, triers, and then there's the buyers. And they're the people who know they can't do it themselves and need somebody's help. And this is common in most kind of service-based businesses. They know they need somebody's help. And interestingly, with LinkedIn, it's most of the DIYers and the triers that help you stay visible for the buyers.
Wow, that's interesting. So it's
So
like people think they got tire kickers on their feed, but it's actually people helping them get to buyers because,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
they are the people who make you visible, who consume everything that you might feel a little resentful of because it's like you're not buying anything, but you'll keep downloading my stuff. You'll keep showing up on my webinars. I'll keep following you up and you'll say, no, I don't need you. And it's like, oh, this is annoying. Right. Don't tell me you haven't been there, right?
oh, totally, yeah,
But they're the actual people who like, comment. They're the people who will show up and, and chat to you and all that kind of stuff. But the people who you really want are lurking in the background, looking and seeing what's going on and what's happening. And that's kind of how it plays out. And most of the people I talk to tell me that's exactly how it plays out.
yeah, yeah.
But
That's very interesting. So, Dean, in your experience, well, first of all, everyone, I'm reading Dean's book called Get Growing. I would recommend checking it out on Amazon because it's a wonderful read and it talks a lot about Dean's early years in business. And I think us Fit Pros can relate because like he had a kick-ass product and service and was wanting everyone to buy it. So he would like not value it that much. And I think we do that a lot in fitness too. So definitely check that out. And I think too, when we think about those three categories of people, Dean, in your experience, when you're creating content, are you creating it kind of as like, I want to give this to someone to go do it themselves, right? Like I want to give them a tool. It's a tool, not a
yeah, I've always had this like I at heart, even though I'm now into the kind of social selling space, I'm actually more of a marketing person than a salesperson. I just kind of learned the sales bit as I went. I hated cold calling. So I had to learn marketing to compensate for the fact that I wouldn't pick up a phone. So when it comes to content, what I'm trying to do is talk directly to the problem that the buyers face, but give the answer as high level as possible that they want to talk. So I'm giving them key points, and then what I tend to do then is go deeper in long form content to give the meat of it, shall we say. If I give you the skeleton in the posts, I actually do something like this. I did an audio event earlier. I went for an hour talking about, can't even remember what I was talking about an hour, a couple of hours ago, but I went for an hour talking about how you build an audience on LinkedIn. And I did that for an hour and literally said, this is what you need to do.
Yep.
Knowing full well the DIYers will go, right, I'm off. The triers will have a go. And the buyers will go, you know what, I don't want to put myself through this stress and trying to figure it out and all that kind of stuff. And then those people just message me and say, Dean, let's just do this.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's super helpful because I mean I think for fitness professionals we can translate it right away to like what would a live be if I'm trying to help
Mhm.
those three categories of people, and it would very much so be like here's your weekly workout schedule. You need to
Mhm.
implement three strength training workouts, three cardio workouts. Here's what those need to look like. And yeah, those buyers are going to say, "Screw this, I'm going to message Drew. I want to get this program started."
Yeah, because those kind of people, there'll be people who can go, yeah, I can do all that, great, and they'll be like your biggest champions because if they do it themselves and then tell other people, hey, I did Drew's program, it was incredible, right? He gave me some extra, and I've lost, 10 pounds or whatever, or I've got so much more energy. they are going to be the people who give you the top of the tree when it comes to marketing, which is word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is always that risk that you overshare, but that comes from a fear of losing. If you look at, say, Tony Robbins, I know it's a kind of different industry, and I know we're not Tony Robbins, but the principle is the same. Tony Robbins, everything Tony Robbins has said is on the internet. Everything. You don't need to go to any seminar, you don't need to buy any book. It's all on the internet. So why do 5,000 people pay hundreds and thousands of pounds when he shows up in a town? It's all there.
Mm-hmm.
They want the experience. They want the deeper level. They want the deeper connection. They want the outcome that comes from working more closely. Because I don't need Tony Robbins. I can read every book. I can watch every video, and I've got every bit of information. So why do people still pay him?
Yeah, no, because they want that experience and to do it themselves. I think too, because like I pay for coaching personally, right? And it's like, why do I do it? So I can make sure I'm doing the stuff I'm supposed to do, and then tweak it as it doesn't work. So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
So I was going to say, when it comes to content, there's kind of like three elements that everyone needs to focus on. Yes, you can go and play the influencer game, and good luck with that when you are chasing impressions and getting no clients, because most influencers are broke, by the way. But the key bit is they need to get to know you as a person. Yeah. Not just the gym fitness, the perfect abs person, but they actually get to know you and your backstory so they can buy into you. They need to sample your value. Yeah. So in other words, this person's got some great stuff and it's relevant to me and it's helpful to me where I'm at. And then they also need to be educated in your offer, what you're going to sell to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet kind of two groups of people, really. There's always kind of like extremes that you see more often. One extreme is value, 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 personal stuff, no offer. Yeah. So you end up with nice guy, really useful, or nice person, really useful, no idea what they do. Or the other one is, they're just always talking about their program all the time. I'm going to run a mile. And the balance is actually in between. The balance is, it takes somebody, if you posted your offer every week for the next 7 weeks, in 7 weeks' time, one day a week, you posted your offer every week for 7 weeks. In 7 weeks' time, people would start to be considering it. It takes 7 times for somebody to see your offer to actually actively consider it. So if you don't do that at least once, well, up to once per week, you're not going to be seen. Then nobody's going to know what you do. But likewise, you need to do that mix of getting to know you. What's your backstory? How did you get into what you do? What's some of the challenges you've faced? And here's some practical stuff for me. Yeah, for me, the person you're going after, not the person going, actually, Mike was this and now he's got a 6-pack. Yeah, because there's also this weird thing like, why do we pay for insurance? Drew, why do you pay I know you have to, but why do we buy insurance when it's optional?
Yeah, just in case something bad happens.
Right. So we buy stuff just in case something bad happens. Do you believe anything's bad is going to happen to you?
I mean, maybe. I hope not. I hope it doesn't.
Most of the time, people don't think something bad's going to happen to them, right? So we have this weird Goldilocks scenario, and this is true for lots of different industries and people. It's a Goldilocks where we don't think bad stuff's going to happen to us, but we also don't think good stuff will happen to us either. So in other words, the best outcome, you become a millionaire in 90 days and you're driving a Lamborghini. We don't believe that. But we also don't believe that you're going to go broke, lose your family, go lose your house, and end up homeless.
Right.
And the more we talk about those extremes, the more irrelevant we become. The closer we talk to, even if it isn't as sexy, Tim lost 100 pounds in 90 days and he's now got a new hot wife or whatever, right?
You're right.
We don't necessarily believe the most optimal outcome, and we don't believe the worst. So if you put a post up saying, "Are you 50 and looking like you feel like you're going to have a heart attack?" That's not a good
Too
move
much.
either. And you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually,
No,
the
that's awesome.
majority of your business is actually sat in the middle. It's not the extreme messages of here's how to get six pack in 7 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's really helpful, Dean. And I think people can take a lot away from that because I think often we don't share enough about us personally. And back to the point of like getting people to trust you, that's how you do it, right? Is having that personal connection. Well, man, why would a fitness professional or small business owner even want to go on LinkedIn? Because like I know a lot of my Facebook connections might not even have a profile yet. And I know you hang your hat on that platform all day long. So why would someone want to do that?
So I started on Facebook. So 11 years ago, that's where I did my social media thing. And all platforms get more difficult. Let's just be honest. Platforms get more difficult.
Hmm.
Facebook is not an easy platform anymore. It's a tougher platform. LinkedIn is still, even now, so many years down the line, in its infancy in terms of its features. It's like on the bell curve of adoption, we've not even got to the peak yet, right? So
Yeah.
there is that bit. Quick fire stats. There's a billion users, right? 1.5% of them post.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
that's it. 1.5%,
Wow.
right? So first off, you've got a much easier way to get your content out of your network. It's much easier. So in other words, you can spread your message further on LinkedIn than you can on Facebook. Second
Yep.
thing is you can find people more easily. I could literally do a sales nav search with you now and find middle-aged men on LinkedIn that have high paying jobs that probably need fitness coaching. It's really easy to do.
Yep.
Take some thought, but you can find millions of them quickly on LinkedIn. On Facebook, you have to hunt in groups. You have to do all of that stuff, or you're running paid ads. It's just a more difficult platform. And there is one more important thing. The general position is LinkedIn users are richer. Say it.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, no, and I think too, you and I talked about this initially when we connected, but it's just like such a more digestible place to post business stuff. Like
Mhm.
if for me, if I post anything business related on Facebook, it gets very little cricket. It gets like
Mhm.
nothing. But then if I post like, "Hey, here's my kids," everyone's pumped.
Mhm.
Whereas on LinkedIn, I get good feedback on both. Like if it's something business related, people are excited. Personal, it's good because they get to know me better. So yeah, I feel like it's a
Well,
win-win. And
I think as well though, like there's a mental difference in the users on LinkedIn. It's the Goldilocks. In like, if you think about it, when you're on Facebook, you could be there just as a like a private citizen. Yeah. And you join some groups because you're exploring, and then people come, it's like when you join a Facebook group, suddenly everybody wants to talk to you, right? You're
mhm,
the first meet. It's like you're the brand new person in the group, and the wolves pounce, right? And you're inundated with messages. So there is an element of okay, Facebook is a bit more personal, so that kind of creates a problem. But I think the mindset of people on LinkedIn is this is a more professional platform. There are business people on here, and compared to Facebook, I think it's less intrusive.
Yeah, it's less intrusive to introduce your business to a stranger, right? On LinkedIn versus Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And then as far as building credibility, like from my perspective, I think it's a no-brainer to like set up your education, connect your certification to your profile,
Mm-hmm.
Do those types of things. And I'm also educating people on like, value-based content, get a
Mm-hmm.
newsletter going. How did you get your newsletter so much traction that you did? Like I haven't seen anyone's newsletter with, 20,000 plus subscribers. So what was your uh early
So,
stages to now?
so I followed a very regimented process in
Mm,
that I went, there's two ways I can go with my LinkedIn. I can just talk to the people I can help and nobody else. And that's slow to grow, but quicker to convert. So that's the way I went. So, in other words, I focus on people who want to sell their expertise on LinkedIn. I've got a business that does the corporate work, but my process, my profile is all about people who want to sell expertise on LinkedIn, know
got it.
how, coaches, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so I went all in on that, which means that every piece of content, my profile, my newsletter, the works is dialed into that.
Yep.
Where some people go wrong, in my view, unless they're playing a long game, a big influencer long game, right, which takes at least 17 months to be making enough money to live.
Right.
If you're playing that long game, it's about connecting with as many active users and anybody who will engage with you as possible. So what you have is a broad audience, far more engaging audience because you're basically connecting with commenters. Yeah. So they comment. So you've got a group of people who will comment on pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But actually, the percentage of people can buy from you is much smaller.
Yep.
So you remember how we said before about there's DIYers, triers, and buyers?
Hmm.
Most of my audience are what we call LinkedIn lurkers. They don't post.
And is that
They don't
because you're
post.
trying to help them post?
That's because I'm connecting with people who are not like me.
Got it.
So I'm deliberately going after people who won't post, don't post, and I'm showing them the opportunity of LinkedIn. So it's a bit like, say, a fitness coach going, I'm going to connect with other fitness coaches. I'm going to connect with people who also like to comment on fitness issues, and you end up with loads of engagement. You're in this great bubble, but the percentage of people who are actually clients who could buy from you are tiny. So you need big numbers to get an end result. I went the other way and went, I'm not going to focus there. I'm going to focus on getting the right people in my network. My newsletter, my content, my profile, everything lines up with that. My audio events, my webinars are all for them.
Hmm.
And that's all I do. So, do I have the biggest following in the world? No. Do I have the biggest engagement in the world? No. Do I probably make the most money of any LinkedIn trainer on earth? Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it's because you focused on the people that need you, right? The people that
Yeah.
need your help, not everybody.
Yeah. So if you think about most LinkedIn training businesses and social selling businesses, they're one or two people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sat at 30 something people full-time employed.
Yeah, that's incredible. I would love to know too, like as you started building out your LinkedIn for you personally, has the services that your business offers, have they evolved over serving those clients, or was it kind of like, hey, here's what we do and we just need to fill them?
Yes, they've evolved. I mean, if I think back to my business before the pandemic, it was a very different business and we adapted and naturally, like everybody did,
Mhm.
if you're doing PT work and then suddenly the pandemic shuts you down, you end up online. We were doing, a lot of events. We now do events again. So Maverick has about 50 events a year that we do in various cities around US, UK.
Wow.
Um, so we were doing all of them. They got shut down and we went online. And so we had to adapt, first of all, our model, which was very much in-person training. So helping people in the room so that they could do it and implement it rather than on Zoom. So we adapted that bit. And we also we also focused on, okay, we we had a choice really. Do we don't go organic or ads?
Hmm.
And this was a big decision for us, organic or ads. And what we decided to do was go organic because I'd seen the experience of Facebook ads in the past where they start really easy and get more and more difficult. So I read a paper called The Long and Short of It. It's by Peter Field and Les Binet. And it basically says that the sweet spot of how you run your business is that about about it's not, I think it's 60/40. I can't remember the exact numbers, but 60% of your marketing effort should be on long-term brand building pieces.
Hmm. Hmm.
40% should be on activation.
So is
So
activation like an offer?
yeah, it's like conversion. In other words, you're outbound, you're cold messaging, you're doing that stuff.
Got it.
And the rest should be focusing on building the trust, building the brand awareness, building like the buy-in ahead of time. And they studied loads of brands that did this, and I
Hmm.
made our model to replicate that. So in the short term, we found it harder to win clients. But in the
Sure.
long term, we got people coming in saying, I've been to a few of Dean's webinars, I've been to a few of Dean's audio events, I've downloaded some of those, and they would come in and convert really, really easily. So
That's
we
awesome.
get a steady stream of people now because we've done that work. Yes, there's that 40% piece, which initially, the first few weeks and months of you get going is tough
Hmm.
because it's like, I'm doing all this work and 60% of it is yielding nothing.
Yeah.
It's building something, but it's yielding nothing right now.
Right.
We're focused on, so we lived on the 40%, and then we just went, it literally exploded. We had more leads than we even now have an issue whereby we get more leads than we can actually deal with in a given week. Just people filling in forms, and there's, it's all happening because we have done that whole piece of let's give people help.
Hmm.
The DIYers will advocate for us, the triers will come back to us, and the buyers will just come in. And we've approached that model with our business.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, man. That's incredible, and I think it's a lot for the fitness industry to learn because the content piece, like that long term content building, I think is so valuable when we think about like even client resources. All trainers got PDFs to send their clients, nutrition guides to send their clients. There's no reason that stuff shouldn't be eventually, once it's not a client thing, circle it through your social medias and give people all the goods.
Yeah, it helps people really focus on what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So someone asked me a question on LinkedIn ads versus Meta ads. What I'm hearing is you don't even run ads on LinkedIn. Is that true?
No, we do run some ads now. We didn't do ads for basically until the first ad we ran was 2020. Um, and it was Google search ads that we did initially. We
Yep.
do a little bit of LinkedIn ads now.
To
Um,
what? To like a form, to a resource? What do you run the ad to?
we promote our own content.
Okay.
So we
That's
promote
awesome.
our own content around LinkedIn to different audiences and different markets.
Hmm.
Um, and webinars and events and stuff like that. We'll do a bit of that. I think that the challenge with ads generally is the cost of acquisition. It's gone up. Yeah, Facebook's it's gone up, LinkedIn it's gone up. So we use the classic Gary V model with ads is show something to get brand awareness and then follow up an ad on the back of it, which actually pay to the people who paid the most attention. So we do that kind of Gary V model of ads, brand awareness ad, and then follow back up with a conversion ad or a lead capture ad of some kind.
Got it.
I think the challenge for the fitness world is that LinkedIn's ad prices are pretty steep.
Mm-hmm. What's the barrier to entry? I haven't
Well,
ran one.
yeah, it's more that the cost per click is just so high.
Got it.
So I think we worked it out. Facebook. So the question mark is, and we've never answered the question, but there is a question mark. Facebook's cheaper but harder to target. LinkedIn is easier to target but more expensive. So we've never really weighed up because we kind of ditched Facebook ads when I was on Facebook. The last time I run a Facebook ad was actually for a client, and that would have been around 2018.
Okay. Yeah.
But the consensus is that Facebook ads are cheaper than LinkedIn ads, but obviously how much of that ad budget gets wasted versus LinkedIn, you spend probably, let's say it's the same money, but you reach less people. I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
But typically, I've always advised people that LinkedIn ads are generally going to be, you need a high price point to get a conversion and make it work.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Because I see like the corporate wellness work I do, I could see spending a couple grand and get, 10 leads, and then eventually in that quarter they close, and I'm like, okay, solid, this was good. But for a lot of fitness professionals, like that's not what they're looking for. So I totally
Yeah.
see the value in,
If you were doing like corporate programs and corporate packages, it absolutely makes sense because the return is there. But if you were selling like, I don't know, a 6 or 7 grand 6-month program, you could probably, I don't know, you could probably eat quite a lot of budget before you actually make any money.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. I don't know anyone that's like winning with any ads though currently. I'm sure some people are, but most of the people I connect with aren't.
The problem is that the people who seem to be winning with ads want to sell you a $2,000 or $5,000 course on how to win with ads.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. That's a good point.
Um,
Well, man, so just to give everyone some more context, like the people that I help on LinkedIn are very either they're like rebranding their business or they're new to the platform.
mhm.
So Dean, for those people that are like, for example, I set up people's profiles, tell them what to do, and then they're off to the races. What type of stuff do you all have that might be valuable for them to check out?
Well, let me first say, right, do not miss the most important bit of anything to do with LinkedIn, and it is the profile. Everything spins off the profile. So your buyer education, content has. So let me give you a little stat, Drew. The average content impression or a content impression is 3 seconds.
Wow.
People will spend up to 10 seconds on the first part of somebody's profile. So some of your prospects will actually look at your profile more than your content. So that whole piece on making sure your profile is right it affects your connection rate, your message reply rate, it affects your content, it affects everything. Everybody looks at profiles to go, who is this person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it's the primary buyer education. What we then do with people is if they've got their kind of position sorted, is say, right, you're going to have to now build a routine. You're going to have to put out content. You're going to have to make sure your offer's defined, and you're going to have to then go to market and talk to people. I don't mean send messages. That's a different thing. Talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a bit naughty and LinkedIn doesn't like it. Automation. There
Sure.
are tools that can help you, but let me give the caveat before LinkedIn like cut me off and I cease to exist on LinkedIn. What often is sold to people is, hey, you can put your LinkedIn on autopilot and it will just fly out messages. And what actually happens is nobody pays attention because there's been no care, no attention, no understanding. None of that piece has been done.
Right.
So you have to kind of go further than just messaging, it's talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And then in our programs, we talk about how do you get people down that process. So yes, you're doing content. Yes, you got your profile sorted. You got a clear offer for people. You're growing your network. You're actually getting engagement. Okay, how are you going to take that down into, I've actually got some people actively interested, hanging on what I'm saying, believing in what I'm saying, and now I have an opportunity to talk to them. And you can, and we show people how you can get leads in your inbox without ever sending a message if you do the right things. And I don't mean posting and waiting for it all to come. I mean actual tiers of activity. Tier number one is the awareness and the trust and all that stuff. Tier number two is becoming the expert to them. And then when you do that, you have people in your inbox.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I think too in the world of agencies, us small business owners like to think, we can outsource, hire, do whatever. But if you're the subject matter expert, like, Dean, you're selling your expertise, you got to do that converse and people part, or, the conversions don't work.
Now, there's elements you can do, but ultimately, people have got to buy into you, and you've got to do that work to help them buy into you. You can't navigate around that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Well, man, this was very helpful. I appreciate you sharing your expertise on especially the content creation stuff. I think that's where a lot of people get hung up, and I think too, like, it's not just siloed to LinkedIn. Like, if we've got other platforms, I think that content of offering value, getting to know you, and educating on your offer, are all very valid.
Yeah. And I just want to say, if you are coming from Facebook to LinkedIn, seriously, the profile is so like really important. I cannot emphasize how much, not the experience and all the stuff down there, that's good, but actually understanding what you put in your banner, what you put in your headline, what you put in your featured section, that you don't end up just going, oh, that doesn't matter. I've got my listing. It's all right. Actually, it needs to be watertight.
Yeah, thanks for that. And definitely check out for everyone that's watching. Check out Dean's profile because he's got it really good on there. And I know a lot of people in the fitness circle are also releasing books, so it'd be a good way to check out how Dean did his book promotion on there.
Cool. Drew, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. Thanks for the time and thanks for the insight today. Yeah, other than your LinkedIn profile, anywhere else you want people to go see what you're up to?
Well, the fitness people who haven't got a profile need to come to you and sort their
Yeah,
profiles out. And then when they're ready to actually do that middle bit of move people down from funnel, they can come see me.
cool. That sounds
Yeah.
great. That
Like the
sounds great.
perfect combo. Perfect combo. You
Yes,
get them
sir.
looking ship shape, and we'll get them dropping clients in the inbox.
Sounds great.
Brill. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, thank you, Dean. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Cheers. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.